Boom. Greetings from YouTubeville. Once again, it's that draft guy, the draft guru, Danny Savage. Like I told you, the video dropped earlier. I was backed up, so I just got to get these videos out there. And so this is going to be part two. I thought I was speaking good Spanish here today, but I wasn't. So this is part uno. This is part dos. Like I said, I only speak enough to get slapped. Like I said, I'm lucky I speak English, to be honest with you. So this is part two of safety watch list. This is no way of ranking people. This is just a way of, people to watch out for in the fall when, yeah, for the people that watch college football, names to look out for, and also names to look out for when the 2025 NFL draft comes along. Still the best beard on YouTube. All right. First kid, the Decapitator is his nickname. Hunter Waller out of Wisconsin. 6'2", 215. Versus the run, he plays for Wisconsin. So versus the run, this kid is a monster. He had 120 tackles last year. I personally think he has linebacker flex at the next league. I mean, in the NFL, I think some team, because he is bigger for his safety, and I think some team might want to add 15 pounds to him and throw him at linebacker at the next level. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying don't be surprised. But he is good versus the pass. Solid starter. And my opinion, he's the best in the box safety coming downhill to stop the run. That's where he excels. So that's a name to watch out for in the fall this year. And he's definitely a name. He's a definitely 100. Barring injury, he will be a top 10 safety in this fall's NFL class. Also, like I said in my safety part uno video, I said I expect safety to be a stronger position this year than this past April's NFL draft. But this is early. A lot can go on from now until then. There could be injuries, there could be guys come back. A lot of things can happen. Next kid is Dante Traden, Maryland. This kid has a weird story. Not a weird story, it's just kind of interesting. He actually starts for two sports at a Power 5 school. He plays lacrosse and he plays safety. This kid is solid versus the run. He needs to get a little bit bigger, but this kid is, when I say a great athlete, a great athlete. Very rare in big time college, sports. Once again, if you like, sub and subscribe. I don't know why I throw that in midsection. That's probably my ADD. But, very rarely do you see a kid that plays two sports and excels at two sports. He originally was a great lacrosse player. He was top 10 in lacrosse. And then the lacrosse coach was like, yo, I think you need to take a look at this kid's football because he wants to play football first. So he started out with football, and then he's like, yo, I want to do lacrosse too. So he's doing both. So, you just got to hope that don't wear him down. Hopefully he suffers no lacrosse injuries. And I do think once he declares for the draft, lacrosse will be, that'll be, another thing of the past because you're not making money. NFL is where this kid is going to make his money. I could be mistaken, but I don't think there's any professional lacrosse leagues that are paying like the NFL. But I could be mistaken because, like I said, I don't watch lacrosse. You know, who remembers roller derby back in the day? I was like 5 years old when that stuff was around. That was some crazy shit. I'm surprised they don't bring that stuff back. See, I come up with a good that's a good question. Like once blue moon. But I'd watch that now. I think the people out there would watch that now. Next kid is a kid Malik Spencer from Michigan State. This kid is a potential name. 6'1", 210. He only started 7 games last year, but he had over 70 tackles in the 70 games. Excuse me. He had 70 tackles in 7 games. So he's a kid that burst onto the scene last year. He's a great athlete. And if he can reproduce that this year, don't be surprised. He comes out, but he also could be a guy that might come back. It's tricky with these guys. Like, you don't know whether they're coming back or not. It all depends where the NFL thinks they're going to come out. It all depends if the kid suffers an injury. And then he's like, all right, now his draft stock is taking a tumble, and you're going to see the kid come back. So you can't blame him. You can't knock him. He has the time. So we'll go to this next kid, Marcus Allen from North Carolina. People are calling this kid a safety, and I don't know why. I mean, I see him as like a nickelback because he's a string bean. He's 6'2", 185. He's going to play in the slot. This kid has size that you want in the corner and in the slot, and length, and crazy deep speed, crazy deep end. He has long speed. There's short speed, quick areas, and there's long speed. You got to realize there's 2 different types of muscle fibers, fast twitch and slow twitch. But this kid has tremendous long range speed. He'll take an angle if it's on the other side of the field, and he will chase you down. And he has the size and the strength to go up against the taller wide receivers that play in college football and that are gonna be playing in the NFL. I see this kid more in the nickel. You know what I'm trying to say? I see him more in the slot. That's where I see this kid, because I don't see him at safety at all. That's my 2 cents at him. Now, here's another kid. Perfect example of why you shouldn't judge a player by his size. Safety, Billy Bowman from Oklahoma. The kid's 5'10", 190. Yet, he plays so much bigger. Now, for a kid like that who's 5'10", 190, you say like, yo, he plays much, much bigger than his size. And then with the big dudes that don't play like their size, you say, they look like Tarzan but play like Jane. It's so disappointing when you see a big dude with all these tools and they're just they're straight ass soft. I always said God makes the biggest dudes with no heart whatsoever. None. Good for nothings, they are. They're huge and they're good for nothing. But they get this far because they might be 6'4", 6'5", 300 pounds. I'm just talking a lineman's point of view. They might be 6'4", 6'5", 300 pounds, and then you'll get a 6'1", 6 foot, 270-pound lineman will kick the shit out of him, excuse my language, destroy him the entire game, own him. But yet the Division I coach is going to look at the 6 foot lineman and say, sorry, son, you don't pass the eye test. And he's going to take the bag of shit, excuse my language again, who's 6'5", 300, that has no heart, and, no heart, No heart, no mean temperament, no nothing, absolutely nothing. He just has the measurables. That's why I'm not a giant measurable guy. And they'll be like, yeah, let's give this kid the scholarship. And what happens to these kids? They gas out. That's so disappointing when you see somebody that God gives them all these tools, but they got zero heart and zero mean streak, which that can't be coached. You're born with it or you're not. But getting back to Billy Bowman, he does need to get bigger for the NFL. Another kid, bro, he is always around the ball. That's something you can't coach either. In the last 2 years, he's had 9 interceptions. There's some dudes, either they're great at watching film, they have a knack for just, you see it sometimes in the NFL, even too. A guy will just pop out a 6, 7 interception season, or there's a guy, he'll recover 6 fumbles in a year or 7 fumbles in a year. As a defensive lineman, we're talking about middle linebacker, D lineman. Mostly, you see D linemen have a knack for always being around the ball in the running game and stuff like that. And that's something you can't coach. That's instincts. That's just somebody that has a high motor skills, always chasing down the play where other dudes are just standing there. Micah, second part of the seasons when he stands around. So it's like this kid, though, he's a name to watch out for. Like I said, he does need to get bigger to bang in the NFL. But as of right now, he plays much, much bigger than his size. He's always around the ball. And that's just something you can't coach. You can't coach that. You can't coach heart. You can't, like I've always said from a coaching aspect, I'll take a guy that has this much level of intensity or aggression, and I can get him down to here by coaching him, by supervising him, even in the workplace. I can get him down to here with supervising him, coaching him. But if I get a guy and he starts out down here, I'm not going to get him up here because there's a saying, I'm sorry, you ain't turning a poodle into a pit bull. But I can get a pit bull and I can bring him down and he's going to act like a poodle until it's time not to act like a poodle. Once again, Billy Bowman, Oklahoma, that's a name to watch. Might be coming on back later tonight. I might not. So, might be coming back on 2200. Maybe I might not. Who knows? Like I said, I was behind, so I had to drop 2 today. Tomorrow, we're dropping corners and wide receivers because I told you I was backed up. And then Monday, we go back to round part 3, and we'll start with running backs on Monday. When you're rocking with the GWO, it's for life. Have a good weekend, everybody.